it's Aravia the Lifestylist. Welcome to my channel. So today is going to be my first ever story time. So of course, if you read the title, then you know that I'm going to tell the story about how I had my daughter in the car. Yes, we had our youngest baby in the car on the side of the road in front of the lake. Crazy, yes, but it truly happened to me, and it's something that was a very traumatic experience. But whenever I get a chance, I love to tell the story because I'm just like, I had my baby in the car. So just to give you a little background before we jump right into the story, when my first daughter, Ava, when she was 3 months old, I found out that I was pregnant with my youngest daughter, Avon. And it was really kind of like a zoom, what? And from that moment, everything just happened really fast. So I went from having one baby that I adored so much to having two babies on my hip. And literally two babies, because before Ava even turned 18 days before Ava had her first birthday, I had given birth to Avon. When I look back at pictures, I clearly see, like clear as day, I had two babies. Like Ava didn't even have many teeth when I had Avon. So let's hop into Avon. So if I can remember correctly, March 31st, 2018 has to be a Saturday. So Saturday after church, because we go to church on Saturday, we keep the Sabbath day. Saturday after church, we went to bed. We were staying with my mom at the time, and we were having to, go straight to sleep because April 1st was Resurrection Day. So Resurrection Day services are 5 a.m. for the prayer service, 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. So around my birthday, which is March 14th, I realized, I said, I'm not going to make it to my due date, which is April 6th. I'm not going to make it, but please just let me make it through the feast. So the last feast of this collective group is Resurrection Day. So I made it through Passover. I made it through unleavened bread. And I'm just praying, please let me make it through Resurrection Day. Please let me make it through Resurrection Day. I just want to keep the feast, and then I can have this baby, right? Well, the morning of Resurrection Day, around 3 o'clock, we were asleep. Trevon, he's a very deep sleeper. Woke up because I had pain. But I had a baby a year before, and this didn't feel like contractions. It just kind of felt like pain, like, oh, my stomach hurt. I'm trying to wake Trayvon up, but he's in a deep sleep. So I'm like, okay, let me just go to the restroom. So I went downstairs to the restroom downstairs because I felt like I might want to knock on my mom's door, let her know, Mom, I'm not feeling too well. We're close to due date anyway, so this could be it. I went to the restroom, and I tried to use the restroom because I felt like I had to use the restroom, use the restroom. But nothing was happening. So I just was hurting, I'm just trying, so I'm like, okay, let me just go back upstairs. Like, I'm not going to bother my mom, this is just feeling, okay, let me just go back upstairs. So I go back upstairs, and I'm about to lay down, but I'm like, no, I have to use the restroom. So I just go to the restroom that's upstairs. And when I'm in there, I'm like, okay, I'm hurting, it's like I'm hurting. And then I'm like, okay, this is feeling familiar. A little bit of contractions. Let me text somebody I know who's going to answer. Trayvon is deep sleep. So Reba, my little sister, she's around the corner. I call her, Reba, I'm in the restroom, I need help. So she comes, and by the time she comes, which is in about 0.3 seconds, she's like there so fast. At this time, I'm like, she helps me out the restroom, and then I cannot. So I'm just right in front of the restroom door. I'm on my knees. I'm like, oh, like, no, I can't. I'm not ready to have this baby. I'm not ready. I'm like, oh. So she runs downstairs. She gets my mom. My mom clears the stairs. I never seen her come up the stairs so fast. She goes upstairs. What's wrong? call the hospital, call your doctor, call your doctor. So they call the doctor, and I'm just hunched over. They're like, wake Trayvon up. She's about to have the baby. I'm like, no, you know, because I'm originally supposed to be up at this time to get ready for the 5 a.m. prayer service, but I'm not going to make it because Avon want to make her like grand debut right now. I can't make it through Resurrection Day. So I'm like, oh, you know, it's pain. So the doctor asked my mom, has her water broke? She was like, Ravi, your water broke? I'm like, no. And as soon as I said no, what happens? Boom, my water breaks. I'm like, my water broke. And I'm just on the ground. My water broke. And I'm like, I'm not ready. And they're like, okay, they're waiting for me at the hospital. Bring her in. My mom's like, Trey, go get the car. You know, y'all got to go now. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this. So at this time, my contractions are hitting like back to back. So hitting back to back so much that I cannot walk down the stairs. Like every few steps I have to stop because the contractions coming. And my mom is with me. She's like, Ravi, you have to get down the stairs. So it took me about 4 minutes. I say about 4 minutes to get down the stairs, give or take. And we get to the door. So let me just, because I skipped like times. So around 3 something is when I went to the restroom downstairs. I can confidently say it was about 3:20 a.m. April 1st, 2018 when my water broke. So now we have to make it to the car. So I have my favorite muumuu on that I stole from my mom because I got to wear it. I never ever gave it back. I had it for years. It was mine once she let me wear it. So, hey, dang, that's what I got to look forward to because I got 2 daughters. So, anyways, I had my muumuu on. I had my pajama pants on, just some, like, regular pajama pants, and that I had for years. And I'm going down the stairs. So, we're finally making it down the stairs. We get to the front door and outside, and like I said, my contractions are hitting. And I'm not one that can just grit my teeth with contractions. Like, I have to, like, make noise. So I'm, like, screaming, you know? Not screaming like I'm about to die, but screaming on... If you ask Trayvon or my mom, it's probably screaming like I'm about to die. I don't think so. So we get outside, and we park on the side of the street. And my mom was like, Trayvon, move the car, you know, closer. Like, she cannot walk right over there. So I'm just standing in, like, right in the driveway, and I'm holding on to my mom. Contractions are hitting, and Trayvon pulls into the driveway so I can get in. And my sister from another mister, Angel, who lives across the street, she heard me, you know, screaming outside 3 something in the morning in this suburb at night. There's no one outside. It's quiet, you know, but I couldn't help it. You know, my baby is coming down the birth canal. So I get in the car, and when I'm in the car, 2011 Impala, I had to lean the seat back, and I had to sit on my side because I can't sit fully down. You know, I'm hurting, and the baby's come, I'm screaming, and Trayvon just being calm, but I can see on his face. He just as scared as me, you know. I can see it on his face, and I'm just screaming. I'm screaming. So this is where it gets good. We exit out the neighborhood, which takes about 10-15 seconds because this is not that big. We hit the little back street, and on this back street there is a lake, and we get, you know, I'm screaming, I'm having these contractions back to back. I feel bad for Trey because it's a wrap, you know. I can't help it. We hit the back street, and by the time we get in front of the lake, which is not far from my mom's house at all, by the time we get in front of the lake, I feel this gush of water, and I feel the baby come out. Milo. So now instead of me screaming, I scream at Trayvon. I said, the baby's out. I'm like, pull over, the baby's out. She's out. Pull over, the baby's out. He was like, the baby's out. I'm like, pull over, the baby's out. So He pulls over right in front of the lake, and when I look at my phone to see the time, it's 3:26. So y'all, this all happened so fast. I promise you, at 3:20ish, like around 3:20ish, my water broke at the house. I had to come down the stairs, get in the car. Well, I had to wait for Trayvon to come in the driveway, get in the car, and then we pulled out of the neighborhood. So all of this happened in a total of 6 minutes. Yes, 6 minutes. So he pulls over, and as he pulls, like once I felt the gush, I'm pulling off the pajama pants because I'm like, oh my gosh, the baby's out, the baby's out. So he pulls over to the side. He comes around the car, and when he gets there, y'all, his face was priceless. He was like, babe, he was like, babe, you gotta push. I'm like, what? Why? He was like, the baby's not out. You gotta push. The baby's not out, y'all. It was just the baby. Avon's head just came out. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I gotta push. Woo! I gotta push. So I'm like, okay. So I pushed one good push, and I could feel him trying to pull her out. So he's pulling, I'm pushing, one good push, she's out. But, you know, babies are slippery. And yes, you know, Dr. Trayvon delivered the baby, and I give him 100% props. I couldn't have done it without him. I thought the baby was already out. He's truly the real MVP. Me too, you know, because we the MVP. So, one good push, she out. But, you know, he's, you know, it's an emotional moment. So he's holding the baby like, oh my goodness. I'm like, what? What's wrong? I'm just, you know, out like this. Because I just had the baby. What? What's wrong? And I look, and all I could see is this wet, like, blob, you know? I'm like, what's wrong with her? He's like, nothing. And he kind of flips her over. So what I was looking at was just her back, and I didn't see no arms, no legs, no head. I'm thinking she just this little wet blob of skin that I saw, but no, you know, my baby was good. But Avon is the biggest trooper. From the moment she came out, she did not cry, which kind of scared me. Her eyes were open, she was staring at us, but she didn't cry. So I just had a moment. So when she when she came in, he's holding her, he's like, you know, just holding her because she's still connected to the cord, umbilical cord. So he's holding her. He's like, call 911. I'm like, 911? Because in my head, okay, we just had the baby, we're still going to drive. But luckily he was thinking logically, you know, call 911. So he's like, call 911. So what did I do? I picked up my phone. I called my mom. I called my mom. I said, Mom. She was like, what? I said, we had the baby in the car. She said, oh my goodness. Where are you? I said, in front of the lake. I'm on my way. So my mom pops up in a total of 4 minutes with towels, which is lucky. I'm so lucky, you know. I'm not thinking about none of this. My baby's out. That was priority. She got 10 fingers, 10 toes. She looking at me. Still, my baby not crying. So I called 911 right after I called my mom. Let them know where we're at. And luckily, there was a fire station down the street. On the same street, a little bit further down, there was a fire station. So the EMTs came from there. The ambulance came from there. Now it's like 3:30 in the morning, okay? They pull out of the station, and they don't know where we're at. The lady on the phone, she's like, they say they don't see y'all. It's 3:30 in the morning on this little back street by the lake. 2 cars are parked with their hazards on. How can you not see us? Anyways, they saw it. So they finally look to their left, and oh, the cars with the hazards. Yeah. So they come get us, or whatever. They come put me and Avon on the gurney. Trayvon follows us. So we're in the back of the ambulance. Might I just say, ambulance rides are really rough. I was not expecting to be back there with the baby in my hand. I just wasn't. That's one of my things. I'm like, You know, I wasn't expecting that, and I didn't like it, especially because my baby's still attached to the umbilical cord. It kind of feels funny, like something's about to, you know. Anyway, so the reason I'm getting this far as to us being in the ambulance is because the traumatic experience of having the baby on the side of the road, it's not over at this point. So we're in the back of the ambulance. My baby is still not crying. She's just looking up at me. I'm holding her in the towel. So the EMT that's back there with me, they're called EMTs. Yeah, the EMT, he's back there with me. He is checking her temperature. And he's like, her temperature's dropping. Her temperature's dropping. You know, so he's trying to warm her up. So what he does is he wraps this like little foil blanket thing around her. So now, you know, and he's like sitting, he's like, oh, you know, so cute with the woo. And then he's just like, no, her temperature's dropping, her temperature's dropping. So what he did was he got a heating pad, like one of those little heating packs, and put it inside the foil with her. But what he did was he sat this heating pack on her. So freshly newborn, still kind of, you know, wet, with this chemical heating pad on her. It was about a 15-minute ride. By the time we had got to the hospital, my daughter had first, second, and third degree burns on her arm, on her stomach, and on her leg. So my baby is not even an hour old, and now we're dealing with first, second, and third degree burns. The one on her stomach, which was second and third, the only first degree burn she had was on her arm. She had second and third degree burns on her stomach and on her leg. And to this day, you can see all the marks, all the scars actually of the first, second, and third degree burns, like even the first, you know, degree burns. So by the time we had got to the hospital, we got into the delivery room. They clamped the cord and they sat her on the little thing. I still had to deliver the placenta. So I'm worrying about that, it was worse than delivering her. Just push her out. That was not painful. The contractions were, but her actually coming out was not painful at all. But that placenta, delivering that I don't want to do that again, ever. I don't want to feel that again, you know, anyway. But as I'm doing that, this nurse on the side of me, she said, what is this blister? She has blisters. I'm like, what? My baby? And I look over there, and already, like, on her stomach, on her abdomen, I see this big purple, like purplish bubble. And I'm just like, I'm confused. What? Even the whole ride to the hospital, my baby did not cry. She did not make a noise. She didn't like open her mouth or anything. She just stared at me. And it was scaring me. It wasn't until we got to the hospital, they sat her under the light, and maybe, because I don't know, they touched her or touched her burns or something. And that's when I heard her start crying. I'm like, okay, you know, because of the burn situation, she had to go to the NICU. So I wasn't able to have that time that I had with my first daughter with her. But I did get to have like a little time like on the side of the road with her, you know, in the ambulance with her. But that skin to skin, we weren't able to do that because her burns were on her legs and on her stomach. And for about the first 2 months of her life, we were dealing with that. For the first 2 months of her life, the burns, they hadn't even scabbed. Yeah, so I will get into that like another time, the burn situation another time. But I do want to say, I actually love sharing this story about having my baby on the side of the road because it was my biggest fear for my first pregnancy. I'm like, I don't want to not be at the hospital when the baby comes. That was my biggest fear. And my second pregnancy, my fear was, it was different. Yeah, so that happened and it was fine. And I can say, if I had to give birth again, and I had to choose out of giving birth at the hospital like I did with my firstborn versus, you know, delivering her with no medical assistance or delivering the child with no medical assistance, 100% I would choose the no medical assistance, as long as my baby is in like the right position and everything, because the healing process was so much better, so much easier. With my first child, I, I couldn't really walk too far. I could get up out the bed, walk to the restroom, walk out the room a little bit down the hall, but not completely down the hall, just like to the next door, and then turn around and come back because I was winded. I couldn't, it was really hard for me to, be physical afterwards. But after having my youngest daughter, Avon, so we had her like 3 something in the morning. Afternoon, everything was fine. I could walk perfectly fine. Like, I'm not even trying to exaggerate when I say by the afternoon, I did not feel like I had given birth that day. It was truly shocking to me, because I expected, like, oh, I have to go through this healing process all over again. And of course, I'm ready for it, because I brought my child into the world. It's so beautiful. But I was expecting it to be a little bit like more extreme, because I did not have medical assistance when I had given birth. It just happened so natural, like the contractions pushed her out. Yeah, so that is my story of how we had our daughter in the car. And I just want to give a big thank you, shout out, hugs and kisses to Dr. Trayvon, because he delivered the baby, and I think it is something that both of us will remember for the rest of our lives as a traumatic experience, as well as a beautiful experience. It's one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever experienced in my life. That's the story. And yeah, thank you for tuning in to my story time of how I had my daughter in the car. If you like what you hear, if you like what you see, if you want to see more like this, more mommy story times, please like, comment, and subscribe. I drop new content every Sunday and Wednesday. And I would love to hear what you guys would like to see, what you guys would like to hear. So just tell me what you guys want to see, what you guys want to hear. I'll take it into consideration, and we can get that content moving in. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.